I post videos like this every week. If that's your thing, hit like, subscribe, and stick around. Now, back to the tips. A striking realization for many individuals past the age of 40 is that the accelerated decline of the body is not primarily due to aging itself, but rather to seemingly innocuous daily habits that insidiously erode the immune system and hasten the aging process. Today, Dr. Trump presents foundational insights into longevity, immune function, and the body's intrinsic self-healing capabilities, as shared by Barbara O'Neill, a world-renowned natural health expert often affectionately referred to as the global grandmother. Miss O'Neill has dedicated decades to researching nutrition, digestion, immunity, and living in harmony with the body's natural physiology. She is also the author of numerous books on natural health and self-healing. This video will clarify why some individuals remain mentally acute, relatively free of illness, sleep soundly, and possess abundant energy well into their 60s, while others in their early 40s already experience dependence on medication, chronic fatigue, aches, and cognitive decline. More importantly, it will reveal that the majority of these secrets lie not in expensive pharmaceuticals or advanced technology, but in fundamental, accessible practices. Many believe that the human body inevitably weakens with age, making illness unavoidable. However, Barbara O'Neill poses a crucial counter-question. If the body lacked the capacity for self-repair, how could humanity have survived for millennia before the advent of modern medicine? In reality, our bodies are engineered with a sophisticated defense and repair system, at the core of which is the immune system. A less commonly acknowledged fact is that the immune system resides not solely in the blood or lymph nodes. Approximately 70% of human immunity is established within the gastrointestinal tract. While this may sound surprising, the gut is far more than just a digestive organ. It functions as a silent command center, profoundly influencing one's health status, susceptibility to illness, and the pace of aging. Barbara O'Neill often employs a clear analogy. We do not eat merely to nourish our bodies, but rather to sustain our gut microbiome. These beneficial bacteria act as essential workers, facilitating food decomposition, nutrient synthesis, protecting the intestinal lining, and training the immune system to differentiate between beneficial and harmful entities. When the microbiome is robust, the body exhibits superior nutrient absorption, reduced inflammation, stable immunity, and significantly higher energy levels. The challenge lies in how modern lifestyles are progressively damaging this vital microbiome, often unknowingly. One of the most significant adversaries of gut health is the overuse of medication, particularly antibiotics. While antibiotics can be life-saving in critical situations, their indiscriminate use not only eliminates harmful bacteria, but also eradicates beneficial ones. This leads to gut dysbiosis, compromised immunity, increased inflammation, allergic reactions, and a heightened risk of chronic diseases. It is common for individuals, after a short course of medication, to experience symptoms such as bloating, constipation, loss of appetite, fatigue, or recurrent colds. These are not random occurrences. They signal damage to the intestinal immune barrier. Dr. O'Neill also emphasizes that the immune system's role extends beyond combating bacteria and viruses. It actively surveils our own bodies, clears damaged cells, regulates inflammation, and prevents abnormal cellular proliferation. When the immune system becomes overloaded or weakened, these critical processes falter, leading to chronic diseases, premature aging, and cognitive decline. Many people interpret autoimmune diseases as the body attacking itself. However, Dr. O'Neill posits that this understanding is oversimplified.
According to her, the immune system never attacks without cause. It merely responds when something that ought not to exist is present in the body, such as toxins, heavy metals, pathogenic microorganisms, or persistent inflammation in specific tissues. Grasping this distinction fundamentally alters our perspective on illness, shifting the focus from merely suppressing symptoms to identifying the root causes that compel the immune system to act. A commonality among centenarians globally, as revealed by extensive research into blue zones, is not adherence to a strict uniform diet. Some regions consume abundant carbohydrates, others fish, some meat, and some are almost entirely plant-based. Their shared characteristic, however, is a diet composed of foods as close to their natural state as possible, with minimal industrial processing or chemical additives. Furthermore, they maintain strong community ties, engage in regular physical activity, and possess a clear sense of purpose. Barbara O'Neill frequently asserts that the body is constantly communicating with us. Constipation, bloating, fatigue, pain, and sleep difficulties are all signals. The problem is our tendency to ignore these signals, using medication to mask symptoms rather than listening and adjusting our lifestyles. By ceasing to listen to the body, we gradually lose our inherent capacity for self-regulation. In middle age, many individuals notice a decline in memory, increased forgetfulness, and difficulty concentrating. Miss O'Neill suggests that this is not solely attributable to age, but is intimately linked to gut health, sleep quality, and systemic inflammation. A compromised gut impairs nutrient absorption essential for the brain. Insufficient or late sleep disrupts the brain's repair and cleansing processes. Over time, the brain becomes fatigued even before the rest of the body. A profoundly important aspect she underscores is belief, the conviction that the body possesses an innate ability to heal itself if provided with the correct conditions. These conditions are not complex. Clean water, natural foods, adequate and timely sleep, moderate physical activity, sunlight, fresh air, and positive emotional connection. When these elements are restored, the body often responds remarkably quickly, sometimes within days or weeks. If you are between 40 and 60 years old and feel your body is no longer what it once was, do not immediately attribute it to aging. Your body may simply be lacking a few fundamental elements it requires to reactivate its inherent self-restorative capabilities. Dr. O'Neill advises that enhancing immunity or combating aging should not begin with expensive supplements or complex remedies.
Instead, it should commence with the three most essential elements that adults most frequently mishandle: sleep, water, and gut health. She shares an insight that many find startling. The body's most vigorous recovery occurs in the period before midnight. It is not merely about accumulating 7-8 hours of sleep, but about sleeping within the correct temporal window. This is because the nervous system, endocrine system, and cellular repair mechanisms operate according to circadian rhythms. The more disrupted one's sleep schedule, the more the body resembles a worker constantly on forced night shifts. Work may still be performed, but its quality progressively diminishes. Observe how many people over 50 complain of poor memory, mental slowness, irritability, or sugar cravings. Often, this is not due to a failing brain, but to prolonged sleep deprivation and late sleeping habits. When sleep is adequate and earlier, a peculiar phenomenon occurs. One awakens with a lighter mind, eats more moderately, and experiences reduced mental tension. Extensive sleep research demonstrates a strong correlation between sleep deprivation and cognitive decline, metabolic disorders, and increased systemic inflammation. The body does not age rapidly because you are old, but because you are not allowing it adequate, timely repair.
The second crucial element is water, but not merely drinking when thirsty. Dr. O'Neill states unequivocally that immunity requires a sufficiently hydrated environment for nutrient transport, waste elimination, and maintaining healthy mucous membranes. Many believe they consume enough water because they drink tea, coffee or soft drinks throughout the day, yet their bodies remain dehydrated. When dehydration occurs, the first organ to suffer is often not the kidneys, but the gut. A drier gut leads to drier stools and constipation. Prolonged constipation is akin to retaining waste in one's home for days, leading to fatigue, poor skin, bad breath, a sensation of heaviness, and increased brain fog. A telling observation: elderly individuals experiencing sudden confusion and reduced alertness often regain lucidity within hours when properly rehydrated and their bowel movements become regular. This reminds us that many issues perceived as serious illnesses sometimes originate from fundamental matters of water and gut health. This brings us to the core of today's discussion: the gut and its microbiome. Barbara O'Neill emphasizes that if the gut is the soil, then beneficial bacteria constitute the ecosystem within that soil. If the soil is impoverished and the ecosystem weak, plants will struggle to thrive. The human body is similar. One can consume nutrient-rich foods or vitamins, but if gut absorption is poor and beneficial bacteria are scarce, the body will still suffer from deficiencies. A common mistake is to focus solely on purchasing probiotic supplements while neglecting the very nourishment that feeds the microbiome: fiber, or prebiotics. Furthermore, fiber is not a monolithic entity. Dr. O'Neill offers a very practical principle. The more diverse your intake of vegetables, root vegetables, seeds, legumes, and fruits, the more diverse your gut microbiome will be. And the more diverse the microbiome, the more robust the immune system. There is no need for elaborate meals. Simply incorporating several different types of vegetables, a handful of seeds, some legumes, or a root vegetable into a single meal can make a significant difference. Some individuals have seen remarkable improvements simply by adding properly prepared fermented vegetables like sauerkraut or kimchi or other clean fermented foods, leading to a calmer abdomen, regular bowel movements, and a distinct feeling of lightness.
However, some may immediately respond with, "I get bloated from beans," or "raw vegetables upset my stomach." Dr. O'Neill provides a pragmatic explanation. It is not that your body cannot process these foods, but rather that your microbiome lacks the specific bacterial groups required to break them down. The wisest approach is not complete elimination, but gradual reintroduction, starting with very small quantities and progressively increasing over several weeks. Much like physical training, no one starts by running 5 kilometers immediately. The gut also needs to be retrained. The fourth point, directly related to inflammation and immunity, involves food groups that commonly cause irritation in many middle-aged individuals. Dr. O'Neill frequently mentions industrial dairy, refined wheat, and refined sugar as culprits that lead to increased phlegm, nasal congestion, chronic cough, sinusitis, or digestive discomfort after consumption. Crucially, she adds that every individual's body is unique, so instead of debating right or wrong, one should observe their own reactions. If you eliminate a food group for a sufficient period and experience a lighter body, better sleep, reduced skin itching, or clearer nasal passages, that is a clear signal. For those with underlying medical conditions or who are on medication, dietary changes should always be discussed with a healthcare professional for safety. Another seemingly simple yet immensely powerful factor is nasal breathing. Dr. O'Neill emphasizes that the nose is designed for breathing, while the mouth is for eating and speaking. Deep nasal breathing extending to the abdomen activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for calming and recovery. Conversely, mouth breathing leads to shallow chest breathing, which tends to pull the body into a state of stress. The more stressed one becomes, the shallower their breathing. The shallower their breathing, the more stressed they become. This vicious cycle disrupts sleep, increases inflammation, and gradually depletes immunity. Just trying 3 minutes of slow nasal breathing before bed will demonstrate how your heart rate calms and your mind feels lighter.
Dr. O'Neill also discusses hormesis, a beneficial form of stress. An example is brief and rapid cold exposure, such as ending a warm shower with a few tens of seconds of cool water, or taking a quick cool shower if the body can tolerate it. The goal is not self-punishment, but to activate adaptive physiological responses. For individuals with severe cardiovascular disease, unstable blood pressure, or vertigo, this practice requires caution and medical consultation. However, for most relatively healthy individuals, a controlled dose of cold exposure often enhances alertness, promotes deeper sleep, and increases energy levels. We cannot overlook the gateway to the microbiome, the oral cavity. Dr. O'Neill suggests simple hygiene practices such as tongue cleaning, gum care, choosing gentle toothpaste, and oil pulling for a moderate duration if suitable. The objective is to maintain a clean and balanced oral environment, as the mouth is where digestion begins and where microorganisms enter the body daily.
If at this point everything sounds remarkably fundamental, that is precisely the point. This is why many people experience rejuvenation, not through magical remedies, but by returning to the body's natural rhythms. They eat closer to nature, sleep earlier, hydrate consistently, foster a healthy gut, breathe correctly, and engage in moderate physical activity daily. If you wish to begin tonight, try just one small thing. Eat dinner a little earlier than usual. Turn off screens 30 minutes earlier, practice slow nasal breathing for 3 minutes, and then go to bed earlier. Tomorrow, you will have a very clear answer as to what your body truly needs. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe to the By Hak Sung channel. Each week, the channel helps you distill complex health principles into simple habits, empowering you to live healthier and become less dependent on medication. Thank you for staying until the very end with By Hak Sung. Your subscription, a like, or a comment is precisely how valuable knowledge continues to be disseminated to more people. We look forward to seeing you in future videos with Dr. Trump.